Well, back now to our top story. Get this. You know there are new worries about voter fraud in Ohio, and we've been detailing for days the questions about fraudulent voter registration forms, all right? Now we appear to have hard evidence of illegal voting. Keep in mind, voting's already been taking place in Ohio. A group of recent college grads is claiming to have voted illegally in the state of Ohio, and they are bragging about it online. Here is a look at what our college partners at the Palestra.net, a group of college journalists, found when they checked out the claims. Watch this.
Wondered how can we turn the noise into, people actually going to the polls and casting votes.
This house in Columbus, Ohio became the group's headquarters, and volunteers moved in temporarily. Their goal, to capitalize on Ohio's new early voting laws. How did they do it? Oftentimes, they picked up people from homeless shelters and drove them to the polls.
It's a perfect opportunity for them to come in, register at a temporary address like a homeless shelter or, the YMCA or something like that. They can register at that address and vote because they don't know where they're going to be tomorrow or next week.
So far, everything we've discussed has been completely legal. However, today, we found more.
According to the Franklin County Board of Elections website, at least 12 people connected to Vote From Home are registered to vote in Franklin County. 2 have already cast their ballots and several others have requested absentee. For example, meet Daniel Hemmel. He's a graduate of Harvard University and a native of Scarsdale, New York. His bio on the Vote From Home website says he's currently a Marshall Scholar at Oxford University in England. According to the Franklin County Board of Elections website, Hemmel cast his ballot in Ohio. The other volunteers have similar stories, and they all share 2885 Brownlee Avenue as their Ohio address. Today we visited 2885, hoping to speak to Daniel and the other volunteers who voted in Ohio. Volunteers who were around refused to go on camera. We were told by Daniel's colleagues that he is in England and has no intention of returning to Ohio. The Secretary of State's website specifically states that a person's temporary presence in Ohio, such as during a vacation or working in Ohio on a temporary basis, does not make the person eligible to register and to vote in Ohio.
Well, the woman whose voice you just heard, Tiffany Wilson from Palestra.net, joins us live from Columbus, Ohio. Hi, Tiffany.
Good morning, Megan.
Stunning report. I mean, that's hardcore evidence. That's evidence you could submit in a court of law. And speaking of a court of law, did you follow up with law enforcement in Ohio? And do you know what, if anything, prosecutors are going to do about this?
We did. Actually, last night we spoke with the Franklin County prosecutor. He is looking into everyone who lives at Brownlee Avenue for potential election fraud. And in Ohio, election fraud is a felony, so he's taking it very seriously.
So this group of college students who lives at this 2885 Brownlee, they're proud of their efforts? They publicized them online?
Well, their whole intent was to make an impact in this election. They wanted to come to because of the early registration and voting kind of loophole. And on their website yesterday, when I looked, they've registered or helped about 11,000 people cast their ballots. So they are making a huge impact here in Ohio, and that's fine. That's totally legal. It's the fact that they don't qualify as residents, and yet they are also voting in Ohio, that we run into a major problem.
Right. It's one thing to go there to try to get out the vote. It's quite another to actually vote when you don't live in Ohio, but you go to school and live in Oxford. Unbelievable.
Exactly.
You guys have been doing great work on this, Tiffany, and we appreciate the updates.
Thank you.
We're going to follow up with Ohio officials to see what they have to say about this, because I know the Secretary of State herself has been rather hard on your organization, suggesting the questions you're raising. Yeah, the questions you're raising are not legit.
Well, it's been very difficult to get a hold of any attorneys who have represented the Democratic Party or any other get-out-the-vote organizations. Last night we tried to get a hold of one. We had an interview all set up. He stood me up. So if there is another side of the story, if they think that what they're doing is legal, we haven't been able to find one person to say it, to give us their side.
Tiffany Wilson, probably the only time in your life you're going to get stood up, my dear. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
That's right. Palestra doing such great work.
They've been doing great.